shotgun start in golf is full of mathematics. There's a lot of setup work that we have to do in order to make a tournament work. So I'm going to demonstrate to you just exactly how we do a shotgun start here.
Here we go.
Hey. All right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is July 21st. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing great. You know, I just was thinking about that pigeon again.
Oh, I tried to get pigeon shamed by, people from across this side of the, well, it's actually dove and it's a delicacy. I was told it by Eamon Lynch. I'm sorry. He's, from your side of the Atlantic. He said pigeon. It's right in his pigeon. I'm not eating pigeon, whether it's a delicacy or not. They got all these different pies. Anyways, we're flying into the recap show. Last men's major recap show of the year. Ryder Cup still to come. We are very, very excited about that deal. But
hey, I was thinking we got a lot of great stuff ahead.
Yeah.
We got the Walker Cup coming up at Cypress Point.
We do.
We've got a non-net FedEx Cup.
We've got Caves Valley. But Joseph is saying I am required to call in from the car after Caves Valley. Like no matter, we'll see. We'll get to that.
Are we required to have KVV on also?
I think we might. Just laughing in between my kind of intermittent screaming on the other end. So yeah, we got plenty.
I might take vacation that week too. Honestly, I haven't had a vacation all year. I might take vacation that week.
Please do it. But yes, we are done with men's majors in 2025. Plenty still more to come. Scottie Scheffler ends it with a dominant Sunday victory at Royal Portrush. His first ever Open Championship, his fourth total major championship. He is one away from the career slam. He now separates himself from some guys as the third most majors really in the post-Tiger era. I did see the graphic, I believe it was on NBC. I've seen no NBC, but I saw it shared on social that he is almost identically on Rory's clip in terms of major starts. They won their first round 10. Won their fourth one about 25, I think, 25th start or so. So kind of on that same pace.
Do you think it'll be a 10-year drought?
You never know. I don't.
That's the beauty of golf is that you literally never know.
I don't. He might, fall to his knees in tears when he wins the U.S. Open in 2036, like Rory did at the Masters to complete the slam. You don't know.
The good news is we know where it's going to be in 2036 too.
That is true. That is true. Someone was joking about how we don't know where the Open is in like 3 years, but we know the U.S. Open for the next 50 or whatever it is.
You know where it's going to be?
Where?
I thought this was right. Shinnecock.
Shinny.
So it would be 10 years after his first try at the career Grand Slam if that happened.
There you go. It's Rory's 11 year. I can't. Yeah, I guess 2014 to 2025. Yep. So yes, on a similar pace, I would say. Watching from home? Was it a boring Sunday? How was that? It did felt resolved pretty early.
PJ and I were having a lot of fun batting back forth, going back and forth on graphics.
Sounds like you're keeping yourselves entertained over there.
I was entertained. Honestly, there's something about like sitting back and basking in greatness. I think that's what we watched this week.
Yeah.
When you think about, you can say, oh, Rory didn't have his A game, and he might not have, but you think about, like, if Scottie's not in the field, Rory's playing Sunday in the second to last pairing. with a
Yeah.
real shot to win. He's got to beat Tong Lee.
It's
You know,
madness. Yeah.
like you'd
Yeah.
be like, all right, side. But the thing about it, you like sitting back watching greatness. I thought like, you want, for just viewing interest, you want it to be close.
Sure.
But it also would have felt like kind of like, ridiculous for it to be close after the first 3 days of what we watched. And to get out of the gates the way he did, I just like, I think he plays so smart. His game plan wasn't overly conservative. And then obviously, like, he gets off to like the great start, and then the par saves on 6 and 7 before the double. I mean, that was the moment. You always have like a scratchy couple hole. Even anybody that wins any major, there's a period of holes that are scratchy,
Yeah.
and his are 6, 7, 8 today.
Yeah.
And the par saves on 6 and 7, like we saw all week. The par saves on the weekend,
Saturday.
the par putts on the weekend were the difference here. And he only had one hole over par all weekend. It's the double on 8 today, which just kind of got a little too aggressive, and that's it. And I love the idea of playing aggressive in that situation way more than what the natural like kind of prevent defense that gets rolled out so often when you get a big lead and you play not to lose. So
I was with some of our some friends from Ireland who have some maybe misgivings about 8 is the new hole. It's a newer hole.
it's a
built
hole
by
that
Martin
is
Ebert.
unlike any other hole on the golf course.
So it's new, and they have some misgivings, some skepticism about. They're like, oh, I think I'd rather like 8 now, because they're not rooting for Scottie to fail, but 8's a good hole now. But they are rooting for it to at least get close, maybe have a little hope with Rory. And what did that? It took it to 4. It's not like it took it to 1, 2. It took it to 4, and he bounces back with a birdie on 9.
Well, that's where I was just, that's where the saves on 6 and 7 were so big.
Sure.
And
Not a 1 hour scruffiness. It's a 10-minute hole and a bounce back birdie.
Yeah, and then that's like the thing that always sticks out about Scottie is, I think I don't know the stat offhand, but it's, in terms of bounce backs, he's just in a league of his own.
Right.
Tour, he just and I just, there's so many things you could go to. I think like one of the things I'm always amazed about, always admire about Scottie is kind of the approach to the game. The way from a young age, he talked in his press conference about how he was a kid. He wore pants because he saw the pros and he's always wanted to be a pro.
Yeah.
And one of the things I thought was cool is him talking about how he was a small kid and how he had to chip and putt and how he had to be great at chipping and putting because he couldn't hit the ball far. And then he grew like his junior year of high school.
He's a big boy.
And now he's, and you think about that, it's kind of similar to like the big guy in the NBA who was a guard, in high school, and then he hit his growth spurt, but he has all these guard skills, right? And I just think about like his so he got really good at short game at a young age, and he was chipping, there's all the famous stories about him chipping with Colton Oast at Royal
Oaks.
And chipping with other pros. But then you think about like the perspective of what he said before the 2024 Masters. He said, Randy always said to me, we're trying to make you the best player at age 25, not the best player at age 17. Like you say, you get frustrated, like, well, like so-and-so is doing this. Like, why don't I do this? And it's like, well, we're not going to do that. And they had this like, there's always been this long-term approach to his decision-making, to his process, to his whole setup. And that long-term approach is just like paying dividends now, where he is the best golfer in the world in the absolute dead center of his prime as an athlete. And that is because of all the decisions that have been made by him and his team from a young age. And they are paying off now. And it goes down to like the short game, but it also goes to he knows how to hit two shapes of iron shots. And when you're playing a very firm links golf course with crosswinds, that's super important. I think the only thing we saw a weakness in this week was his ability to hit a driver with a left to right wind. And we saw him today when there was a left to right wind, he had a lot of 3-woods. But, and because that's easier to kind of like hold in the wind a little bit more.
Yes.
Those iron play, like the big differentiator here, the big separator he has over everybody is the iron play. I mean,
Approach.
Just like a whole different stratosphere. And part of the reason why it's so damn good as the golf gets harder, whether it's Memorial, whether it's the majors, because when that golf ratchets up, the questions get a lot more difficult and you need more shots at your disposal. And he can hit the draw, he can hit the fade, and especially at a links course with crosswinds and firm turf, that is what you have to hit the ball pin high consistently. And that's what he did all weekend long. Like, it was shocking when the shot on 6 that he was eyeing down the barrel came up short. Shocking. It was the most shocking thing I saw all day was like he missed his number by 10, 15 yards.
That feels like the most just plug it in and it works. Every single week, almost every single round. The putting, he's not going to be first in strokes gained putting. He might be 20th in win. He's going to miss fairways. That just happens. Maybe not a ton, but there was a round this week where he missed fairways, right? And maybe not by a lot. But the approach play just feels like you plug it into the start of the day and it works throughout the day. That is, and obviously that is a skill that is most valuable and cherished in professional golf.
There's a very well-regarded and pervasive thought in golf instruction at this point to not learn how to hit both shots, not learn how to hit a draw or in a fade. There is a real thought, and it's a lot of players on tour practice this thought. I hit fades because that's my shot.
It's the go-to.
Scottie hits it both ways. Tiger hit it both ways. Rory can hit it both ways. I think like what's interesting in what it's illustrative of, Scottie's go-to shot, let's be clear, is a fade.
Yeah.
Like that is his go-to bread and butter shot. But he talked to McGinley in live from, and Paul asked him about like hitting it. Do you work it both ways? He's like, oh yeah. Hit it right to left, left to right, comfortable doing both. And he's like, it really comes down to the situation and what it calls for, and that's the shot I hit.
That's amazing.
And I just think like that whole thing, like that's developed, learning how to hit both shots over a long period of time. And doing that can limit some immediate success. I want to be clear. If you want to play the best golf you can play tomorrow, go play one shot shape. Go play one shot shape, master that shot shape. But with Scottie Scheffler and what's so impressive and why everything is paying off right now for Scottie Scheffler, what they have done their entire time has been, we are going to prioritize what's going to make me the best golfer in the long term. And now Scottie Scheffler has shots that only 3-4 guys, maybe in pro golf, can hit. And he's better at them than everybody. And his ceiling is so freaking high that you see performances like this where, like frankly, Shane Lowry said it. I played with him the first 2 days. It felt like he was going to birdie every hole. I think he could have won this by more. Like, it's not like he didn't have his foot on the gas really today.
No.
And I think that's like the thing that I just like, I appreciate the long range view that his team has had. And like, I think more people should be looking at this. We're in this like instant gratification society where, whether you're a junior player, it's about like, where are you in the AJGA rankings? Where are you in the junior golf rankings?
What's your ball speed?
Yeah, what's your ball? But the reality is everybody should be following. And Scottie was highly thought of all the way along.
Yeah.
But this idea of like, let's make me the best player I am. And it goes down to strategy too. The pervasive strategy on 5, it would be to hit the driver. And what did he do today? He hit 3-wood and he laid back to the fattest part of the fairway and took the free cheese, right? And I just think that's like the other thing. It's like Scottie plays like, everybody has these like locked in beliefs of what golf has to look like right now because of technology and all this stuff. And Scottie absolutely uses a lot of those principles, but he also adapts them to himself. And that's why he plays differently, similarly, but different, because he plays to his game and his like, and I'm just so impressed with like the whole package.
Lot there. Some pretty sharp analysis. I would say what you describe is like a physical tool, physical development. And then talking with McGinley, requires some sort of mental development over the years, right? Situation analysis, right? Now, I can do this, but am I picking the right situation to do it? And that's where he feels like he's become, God, use the word inevitable, invincible, infallible, whatever you want to say. Ted Scott's probably been a part of that. Like, he's obviously took off a little bit more when Ted Scott came on, but you have to be the total package. Both, I can hit a right to left and left to right, but what is the choice? What is the situational awareness? And to hear you talk about sort of the long-term progression and understanding, like, obviously, like, being up close and personal with youth sports, like I am over the last several years, this is not how people think anymore. It's like, no. Is Johnny going to make the first team this year? Did they win the tournament? Is he winning the wind sprints? Is he, all these things? And then Johnny doesn't grow, or Johnny doesn't develop a skill, and then he becomes 6'5" or jumps up like that. That's not the way the world works anymore. And to understand, like, it worked out perfectly for Scottie. Is that replicable? No, of course not. Maybe you don't hit your growth spurt. But if you want the best chance at like a holistic success, and specializing even more, to drill down even closer in golf, like, I am just going to be good at one thing, let alone Scottie played baseball. I think he did all the other stuff, but that's even more pervasive and probably, limiting in the overall long term. It's interesting analysis. So
I think it's interesting. I was thinking about, like, this isn't a perfect cross sport analysis, but like,
sure.
If you think about like what Scottie does, being able to hit those shapes, I'd be curious. Like, he clearly works. I would guess that he walks away from this week and he's probably just thinking, like, I have to learn how to hit in a left to right wind, hit tee shots better in a left to right wind. I'm guessing that would be like his takeaway.
We did get some data, and Lamagna is going to write about this for the newsletter. Like, he's working it both ways, obviously, as you talked about. But one of the things was he had no right to left tee shots on Friday. It was pretty much stock fade, all 12 of them, I believe. And if there was like you said, his shot is a fade, but the tee shots became like stock fade.
Well, part of that's the modern driver.
Sure.
It's just like very hard to turn over.
Yes. Yep.
Like, it's just you could try and hit a draw and it still fades.
Yep.
And I think like the other thing about Scottie that really stands out this week, and it goes to what he talked about on Wednesday, is the way he's been able to compartmentalize golf the way he's been able to kind of de-emphasize the sport in his mind is perhaps like the greatest superpower you can have as a golfer. Is like the sport can become all consuming. I think that's probably one of the hardest things about golf is that you think about it all the time, and you know, like you're constant. Like we've seen so many players, like take Victor Hovland, who's like wins the FedEx Cup and is turning over every leaf, rebuilding a swing, like doing all these things. That's, I think, somebody that's like engulfed in the sport.
Yeah.
And one of the things he's been able to do between his faith and his family, that he brings up a lot, is like he has built walls around it and he's de-emphasized golf. And when you can play golf where you don't feel like the result is the end of the world, I don't know many people that can do that. That's just like a rare one of one type thing. It just isn't normal to be able to like remove yourself from it the way he does.
I think he gets pissed, obviously, when he loses and it hurts and it's painful. And he gets angry when the shots don't fall or he has a bad round. But I was wondering, like, I don't think I've heard him talk about how anxious or nervous he was really since the morning of his first Masters. And that's not to say he's not anxious or nervous, but he does feel like he has sort of mastered the personal stakes of what this means to him. I watched him, like, I came up today to run across to the first to watch Rory tee off, and there he was just like cruising by on the cart, and it didn't, like, some of it's the lead he had, but there's zero. We had heard all week that guys were like, for one tee shot is the most nerve-wracking there is, and I just like to your point about the mental stuff. I'm sure he's nervous, and this is massive opportunities for him. But at this point, it's just kind of it's kind of robotic mentally. He walks on the range, he goes to his spot, the fans start cheering, everybody knows he's walked on the range, and then he hits his balls, he does the molded grip, he works it both ways, he gets in the cart and he goes back, and it's the first tee shot with a 4-shot lead. And there's no like buildup or mental anxiety of like, if I lose this today, my life's over. Or if I lose this today, this will be one of the most embarrassing days of my life. Maybe that's the case, but he's not showing that.
It doesn't feel like when you look at him that his face is carrying stress. You know how you can see stress in people?
Sure. I mean, it's a far cry from like Shane Lowry, the last winner here, who said, like, I woke up today, I didn't know if I could do it. Like, to his credit, like a ton of clarity and honesty and all that, and endearing. But it just, you don't get that anymore with Scottie because he's been there and he feels like he probably has total confidence in what he does. I thought, we talked about this, I think after the PGA, like or maybe you and Trevor did too. Like, he's not doing a bunch of not doing appearances this week for
Jordan
whatever.
Spieth talked about it too.
I was pulling that up. Spieth's like, Spieth, to his credit, a great quote. I mean, all these guys, it's kind of, you wonder if they're going to get pissed. Like, you go in the mixed zone, the press conference, and you just got to ask John Rahm about Scottie. Got to ask Harry English about Scottie. Yes, all these guys about Scottie. And like, you wonder, like, is anyone blow their lid and be like, what the fuck? I just finished third. Can I talk about myself? It's like, no, they understand that there's a larger thing going on here. And Spieth spoke to it. And he said, I think it's maybe less golf swing and more of his personality. He doesn't care to be a superstar. And someone asked him, like, if he had Adam Scott's swing, people would be comparing him to Tiger, the way he's played. He says, I think it's more, maybe less his golf swing, but more his personality. He doesn't care to be a superstar. He's not transcending the game like Tiger did. He's not bringing it to a non-golf audience necessarily. He doesn't want to do the stuff that a lot of us go do corporately, anything like that. He just wants to get away from the game and separate the two, because I know that he, at one time, he felt it was too much, that he was taking it with him. And whenever he made that switch, I don't know what it was, but he has hobbies. He's always with his family. They're always doing stuff. And it's the difference in personality from any other superstar that you've seen in the modern era, and maybe in any sport. I don't think anybody is like him. Kind of incredible.
I think like there's like his approach. What I think is interesting for him, like an interesting discourse. His approach is absolutely the best approach you could have for yourself. He said this in his post-round press conference. I've always done my best when I'm living in the present. And if you think about that statement, like everything else kind of makes sense. What he said on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That is like trying to live in the present. Part of me thinks that like this whole thing is working with a psychologist who is like, this is the way you need to approach life. And that comment makes a lot of sense if you think about, like, if I do my best living in the present, I would think that way a little bit. Like, once you achieve something, it's kind of over. And you're on to the next thing if you are living in the present.
I mean, he talked about show goes on, Memphis, FedEx Cup, sitting there with the claret jug. He's clearly getting out of here tonight. He is on the plane to the United States with his family, friends, and those who mean something to him, and going home. People were trying to make like Portrush happen. Like he's going to the Harbor Bar with the claret jug, and like different strokes for different folks. Darren Clark might do
Dallas
that.
Dive Bar. Might be able to get back in time.
Darren Clark might do that. Like, I don't think that just wasn't what he was going to do. And that's his, like you said, he has the perfect mental process, and you match it with the physical.
So the interesting thing about this is like he absolutely has the best perspective for golf.
Yeah.
To play your best golf. I think what's
that
fascinating,
and
maybe
that doesn't mean it's going to be the case for 10 years. Go ahead.
I think maybe where there is some like abrasiveness in terms of like he is not beloved, fully beloved yet. Yeah. And that approach is not maybe the best approach for the game of golf. If you took like the interest in the game of golf, because like he's not like incredibly like gracious with fans because he's trying to win. He's
not prickly. He's
not prickly.
Yeah.
But he's like all of the things that like I think like all of the things that make him so incredible inside the ears can be a detriment in terms of like popularity. Like I was with a friend of mine last night who's like a very casual golf fan. And he was like, I can't believe what he said. Like, I mean, like, what about Jordan or Brady or all these things? And it's like, what fans kind of want to hear is like, I'm living and dying about winning this tournament. This is like, I won't be able to sleep. Like, this is what sports fans want out of their athletes. But his mindset is incredible. I mean, like, it's just, he is living in the present. Like, compare this to Rory McIlroy and him having to get out of the rut of like that post winning the Masters rut. And Scottie here is standing here. He's one win away from the career Grand Slam. He's won 2 majors in this year. In both of them, they were blowouts at the end of the day. He's saying it's on to Memphis.
The win clearly means a lot to him. It's not like there's no point. By the way, he has like, it's basically him, Tiger, and Jack in terms of margins like that. You know what I mean? Like winning. I think has he won all of his majors by 3 or more? I think that's it. There's this notion that maybe he's not a fan favorite because he doesn't do the fist pumps or isn't like, maybe he's boring to some. I've never understood that. I think we said that after his first major. It's like, Like brilliant golf is not boring to me. Like watching someone be brilliant at anything. Tiger wasn't particularly like an incredible personality. He would do these press conferences and be like, the ball, the swing feels good. Course looks good. I like my chances. That was the whole bit Jim Rome did on his radio show in a robot voice. Like he wasn't necessary. I think Scottie is got incredibly more interesting beyond the golf. Like as golf sickos, you're all in. Like you want to watch the best play their best and do their thing. It might be boring, make for a boring Sunday resolution. I think the Tuesday answer is a long way from where he was. I remember when we did like a morning drive to give you how long ago it was. He was on KFT and he came on and he was brutal. He was brutal. Like Damon was trying to get something out of him, and he's just like, I just got to focus on my game plan. I got to play better and do all that. It's like this guy's brutal, boring. He's so boring. But like every time he talks now, like I think there's probably like an 85% chance it's going to be super insightful or interesting and probably honest at least. And so I hope he doesn't stop talking. He's become way more interesting to me. And yeah, I don't know that Tiger was necessarily like the most interesting. He just looked different and he emoted a lot more on the course for a professional golfer. He joins, this is Justin Ray. He joins Tiger and Jack as players to win 4 majors by 3 strokes or more. So that's it. I mean, every single one of them. And I think it was Harris English started laughing when they talked, when he said front runner, like he's like this front runner, and they just started laughing. Like, when he's in front, you're just done. You're toast. Like everybody's being asked about him, and they all have to talk about it. And then I think it was Xander says like, you see his name on the leaderboard, and you're just like, shit. You see that name more than others, and you have an immediate reaction to it. And today, we haven't even talked much about his golf. I guess like what's sort of stating the obvious, like. He birdies 1 and 4, and those have been like, I don't know what they were today. I haven't looked at the stats. 2 of the harder holes. 1, the hardest hole for much of the week. 4 is not easy. And he birdies both of them. And like, what are you doing if you're on the course? Are you trying to shoot like a 58 to make this interesting? Or are you just trying to protect your points and money at that point? Because it's Scottie. And so for me, it was, I know he made saves at 6 and 7 and slipped up at 8, but like birdieing 1 and 4, it was over. Maybe it was over before he even teed off, and we're all just fooling ourselves to think we need to play the whole round. I don't know. Those birdies were just like we're watching. Someone turned to me and was like, "This like." We're watching something really, really special here. And this, like, we all understand it. And Tiger got thrown out a little bit more this time. Xander was like, I don't know why people want to be shy, but we're shy about it. This is Tiger-like stuff. And like the 1 and 4 birdies felt very, very Tiger-like. Because that doesn't happen anymore, professional golf, even from the best players.
I mean, that's the thing. You if you wanted a close competition, you were hoping for the Quail, and like I think like the thing is like Scottie hit a bad opening tee shot.
Yeah,
that was a nervy tee shot.
Little left.
Yeah, it was just like that's not what he was trying to do. And then I think he like missed the target on the second shot. I mean the second shot was really close to missing right in the worst spot, but it ends up corralling back. And like, this is the thing, like his margins are just a little bit tighter than everybody else. He's just a little bit better. It's some of the hands. I think like, it's amazing. Right. And yeah. Like that start, what it did to the other players, shortly after, like he stumbled a little. He did stumble a little, but again, it goes back to what we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
If he shoots even par, he still wins.
Yeah.
But like what those early birdies did was it extinguished any hope for anybody.
No, it was over.
Because at that point, then all these guys had to put their foot even harder on the gas, and they're trying to go around turns, and you're eventually going to spin out. And
I mean, a hurricane could have come in at that point, and he'd already done enough to win, and that's the whole point. Yeah, it is. I think we are talking. It's interesting. Like his peak, like he wins all these majors by 3 more shots. He hasn't been like a. If we want to get into the data, and sometimes we overweight the data, like to provide historical context. Quite honestly, I think we kind of can do that. Like, oh, this major he was plus 3 shots better than the field, and that's this. Like I think like you leave the grounds today understanding like this is a historically dominant player. I think his strokes gained wins like aren't ranked among the top 25 or so in terms of like dominant victories. I'm sure they might be like 26, 27, 28. But I think it's like the total package from what we've seen of, April 2022 to July of 25, and more specifically the last 2 years, that all right, maybe he doesn't get to an 8-shot win, but he is dominant in that it's month to month, week to week, 3 shots better or 2.5 shots better, and nobody can touch him.
I mean, golf's like a game of consistent wins, right?
Yeah.
Consistently gaining fractional amounts of value over your competitors, and he does that better than anyone. I think like the one thing that he hasn't, like the driving can get better if if you're scared. I think the putting can be more consistent. And I think probably the worst thing for his competitors, the very worst thing, is that now he's 10 for the last 10 with 54 hole leads. It's bad for the competitors because they know he doesn't lose. And it's bad for the competitors because he knows he doesn't lose. Like he's just continues, like some of golf is just about having positive pictures to go back to in your head. And this guy has all the most like he has not been beat. That's the other part of this, is that he gets into position and he wins. And he
Where's
doesn't
our
lose.
Yi Yang? Who's going to be our? It wasn't how Tong Lee.
I honestly I think that's like going to be one of the like if you're looking for like what is going to be interesting besides this guy just stacking these majors, which is very interesting, right? That's this is what you want in sports to a certain degree, is dominant players. Yeah. And like you think about like you look at the OWGR and he's got I think it's like a 7-point lead over Rory. But then I think I saw Nosferatu, Rory's like 7 points ahead of Xander. It's like this huge space, this huge gulf of Scottie, Rory, Xander, and then everybody else, Yeah. And I think like one of the things that's going to be fascinating to watch is like, who is the guy that beats him? Who comes in and takes him down one time? Something I was thinking about, and then somebody tweeted at me about this that made me, I was thinking about it. It was funny because I was like thinking about it this morning, is like, so he's got 17 wins, I think, in his last 71 starts now.
Okay. Take your word for it. He's got 17 PGA Tour wins. If
Bryson and Rahm are around, and say DJ doesn't slip like and go away, and like this is a hypothetical. Does this look any different? Is there a win here or a win there that he doesn't have it get done? Because there are 2 world-class players that just aren't around most weeks. Like, and you start to think like, because the mental makeup of these things is extraordinarily important.
Yeah, it's interesting hypothetical. I don't find it super persuasive.
I don't either necessarily, right? Like I think they might just win other tournaments, and other people don't have any wins. But like like it is like just like a he went on this happy hunting. His happy hunting grounds really occurred when significant amount of top end talent left the tour, and then he goes on this crazy run where he's unbeaten. Where it's not like I'm not saying he wouldn't be, but maybe he gets beat somewhere along the line,
a little once
or twice, and it's just a different. But like what's happened is this like supernova where it's like the guy just doesn't lose.
Yeah.
And he's never lost. He doesn't know what that, and it's like, that's the best mentality to be playing golf from.
They were all asked about him. Rory's like, he's the bar. We know he's the bar. He's just it's a difference. We've not seen a few guys like this ever do this kind of run. Xander, like, this isn't a run anymore. This is who he is. Everybody incredibly complimentary and not afraid to provide the context for how good he is. I did think it was interesting. Rahm, I think in talking to LaMagna, was pushing him. Did say like, I think I can get to his level. Didn't say he is or will. It was like, I do, like, I want to be there and I think I can get to his level. And it's an interesting perspective. I'm not suggesting he wasn't saying it in a shit talking way or anything like that. Like, I can do that. But it's like, we've seen Rahm be number one in the world. And he's like, I do think I can get to his level.
2023, they're effectively equals.
Yeah, that's fair.
Rahm goes to live. And like that was one of the other things I just thought about is like, so this was an early week thought and we're here now. But like I was watching Rahm today and I was like, God, this sucks. This sucks. Like Rahm and Bryson are playing early, but like, Bryson goes on this crazy run but like they're playing early and I'm like, you know what sucks? Is that we like don't get to see Rahm, Bryson, Scottie duels. We don't get to see, like, it's already so rare for like these guys to be at like playing their greatest at the same time. And we haven't seen, it's amazing when you get Rory Bryson in 2 majors within a 4 major span, 3 major span.
Yeah.
That's like, that's the Nicholas Watson stuff. Like that, these are the things that build like iconic golf periods. And like, it just sucks. And the other thing about early in the week I thought about was like, there's no reunited chatter. None. This was the first, this is like the major with the least amount of like live PGA Tour. I think the thing is just done.
It doesn't seem like
I don't know if it's ever been further apart.
I think probably the one hurt the most by it is Rahm, I would say.
He's signed a 5-year deal.
Frustrated and angry, and he's got to be bummed. But it doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like there's a great understanding of the history of the divide based on the current live leadership, and whether that's good or bad. He's one away from the Slam. He needs to win the U.S. Open. They go to Shinnecock next year. I forget where they go to Riv soon. I can't keep it all straight. He'll probably complete the career Slam. He got very few golf questions. I was talking to a Golf Channel colleague after. Like, it was all about like the Tuesday quote and a lot of Bennett. I was like, I mean, I love kids.
Did you like the play with Bennett in the dark apparel after the blowout?
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't notice that. I didn't draw on. I love kids.
I thought that was a good lens into the Schefflers and how they think about improvement. Is they identified an issue.
And then
can't put Bennett and White. Right,
too much Bennett coverage. I don't want to get canceled for this, but there's too much Bennett coverage. I love kids. I think Bennett's amazing. He's cute. He's great. He's being exploited by social media managers everywhere. The tours.
Oh, this is what they do.
The tours tweeting
social media managers have been exploiting Charlie Woods for a decade now.
Bennett Scheffler's dad's
this is a rite of passage.
Too much Bennett. Come on.
This is a rite of passage, Brendan.
Everybody has kids. Like, everybody's, come on. Too much Bennett
layup. It's a layup storyline.
It's not
It's
Scotty's
like when you go to when you watch the NFL draft now, and like every time somebody gets drafted, it's like, we're going to tell you the worst thing that happened in this person's life.
His mother got thrown off a bridge when he was 6, and his father got hit by a car when he was 10, and he runs a good 40. That's where they get to. That's
so for Scottie Scheffler, Bennett is that. Bennett and Meredith represent that for the TV. That's
it's
what.
just come on. I understand it. It's
Hold on,
great.
I'm actually gonna defend the TV. I'm gonna defend Bennett. Here's my
TV's
take.
fine. Social's a bigger problem.
Years ago, my grandmother, rest in peace, I walked in and she's like, "How's that Jordan Spieth doing?" And I'm like, he's not doing well. Hasn't been playing well. She's like, "I just love him. I just love his whole family." My grandma never played golf.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
But she became a huge Spieth fan because of him and his family dynamic after tournaments. That was it.
Oh, sure. Okay. I understand the value of it.
The Bennett content's just not for you.
It's for me. I love babies. I love kids. They've just overdoing it. Social media, look, Bennett Scheffler's dad's wins since 20. Come on now, and the picture of him, just to put a picture of him up. Anyways, that became a preponderance of the post-game presser. I wanted to ask him, Phil was in here Thursday saying, the Open's the one I'm most proud of, and it's the sign of a complete player. To win this, at no point did I ever think this was going to be a tough for Scottie. We already knew he was complete. There were questions about him putting on links, slower greens, and that exploiting, maybe a weakness. I get it. But at any point, do we think that, he wasn't the complete player that couldn't win an Open? The adaptation was not to the level of what Phil needed to do. And at any point, do we think he's not going to win a U.S. Open? That doesn't mean he will automatically, but he's everything he does sets up perfectly. Should win one. He's probably going to win one.
It's actually shocking that the last major he has to win is the Open. Shocking.
U.S. Open.
Or the U.S. Open. Also, this is the thing. We talk about golf. Spartan texted me a couple weeks ago. He's like, "I think you're being too harsh on Scottie with the Open." And it's you got to have there's something to talk about with is what's the question mark, right? What is the question mark? And that was the one thing. And it was his results were he had 2 or 3 top 10s and 4 tries. They were really good. It was just it hasn't happened there. And there have been a couple things that he had done very poorly there. And now, he's there. I think in terms of the Grand Slam, I think Portrush and Shinnecock are pretty similar golf courses.
I would agree with that. I defer to you on that, but I see it so crystal clearly with the mix of hitting up to greens, hitting down to greens,
greens that
both
repel,
ways. Yep.
Elevation,
turf,
some wind.
I'm not saying it's links pure links turf, but very similar now you think about it.
I was gonna tweet it, but I decided to save it for the show. Didn't want to give it away for free.
Good, there you go. And we're not giving away for free. That's because this week we're sponsored by Mercedes-Benz. We've been a great week over here. Thanks to them.
What? I'm gonna do some exploitation here.
Uh-oh.
You know what would be great if you have a family, if you've got a young kid?
Yeah.
A Mercedes GLS. They've got the bucket seats in the back. That would be ideal with a kid. I don't have that luxury. I've got a bench, but I would dream of a bucket because what you got, if you think about those bucket seats, they're great for family. Everybody's got their own seat. Yep. You can get the car seat set up in the bucket, but then you have the space in between to stage, items for a young kid.
Sure.
You need a lot of stuff. You need bags. Sure. You have the bag right in between there. Oftentimes when kids are about Bennett's age, they start yelling that they need their mom in the back seat. Mom's happy because she's in the bucket. Yeah. Instead of just, sitting back in a regular back seat. These are all things that the GLS offers, as well as, just sheer excellence, timeless tradition, just like the open partnership that started in 2011 with Mercedes-Benz. It's anchored in those traditions. And these are amazing vehicles.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the only car on the market with bucket seats, but I think it is the best car on the market with bucket seats. It's perfect companion for families or golf enthusiasts. It combines power and finesse, backed by 12 driver assist systems, nimble handling, cutting-edge AI technology, and superb craftsmanship. It reflects Mercedes-Benz's philosophy to deliver the world's greatest vehicles, and we've seen that all week here. They've been on site. They're pretty snazzy. They're very, very nice vehicles, Mercedes-Benz. Breaking news.
I was driving to a concert last night. Went to a little concert.
What'd you go to?
I went to camp.
Oh, all right. We've both been campers here in the last month or so.
Summer camp. Little summer camp.
Good. I went right after the U.S. Open, I think, is when I went. Yeah. Okay, good.
It was a great show.
Good show. All right.
And you know what I liked? The singer kind of got into it with some people in some fans.
Really?
Not
Hecklers,
like it really.
Or what? Jamming them?
Well, one of the guys, the guy that plays like the banjo.
Yeah.
Some guy like yelled his name, and he was like, it's kind of weird. You're like a dude yelling my name, And then there's another guy that was yelling Freebird all concert, and he kind of put him in his place. He's like, stop yelling Freebird. I appreciate that. But on the way, we were driving along, and I said, Kales, that's the GLS right there. As it was crossing in front of us, she goes, that's a nice looking car.
It's a good looking car. You can learn more about it at mbusa.com. You could probably play Freebird in that GLS on some device of yours anytime you want, and keep everybody safe and look good. mbusa.com. Check out the GLS. Thanks to them. Honest, they got us over here once a lifetime for us, to experience being over here. Great open coverage all week on the hub from the writing team back home and the newsletter. Been a great week. So thanks to Mercedes-Benz this week.
BP, after that concert, I think you got to come out. The concert was at the Greek Theater in great venue in Berkeley.
Okay.
I think you got to come out and assess the granola situation.
I mean, I would have so much fun. People watching there. I would have a blast.
It's like half of what I was thinking about when I was like, just
people like wearing tapestries out that as their outfit. Yeah, that would be great. Love that.
The style. My wife even commented on it. She was like, "God, it would be so cool to go to college here. It's just like completely different style than."
Sure. Yeah, that'd be good. All right, where do we want to go? We've gone beefy on Scottie Scheffler. Should we go to Rory McIlroy?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
We got to get some graphics in here.
I mean, what like the fair police are dead. The fair police are gone. R.I.P. to the fair police. Like the guy, fair, unfair or not, the guy's like, he's a dictator. He's to do whatever he wants. He wins. He conquers. He's Scottie the Conqueror. He's not a policeman. He's like, come on. This is bullshit. You guys are now looking for every little bit. No, I might be killing the sheriff. I mean, we have look. Come on, look at the majors. Like you are talking about Pinehurst. He found a tougher two, and we are just over-indexing on this. He's missed a cut in like 5 years. He missed Southern Hills and finished T41 at Pinehurst. Everything else has been top 10 or win.
I will not stand for you killing
police. Oh God. How did we get to the point where I'm being accused of being? Yeah. All right.
We gotta add the stage.
Yep.
Major letdown. This is just me and PJ messing around today. Scottie ponders the meaning of golf's oldest championship after win.
What do you mean? He just why am I here?
Why am I here?
Why do I? Hey,
I loved in the post-round press conference that the one guy prefaced the question, it's been 2 minutes since you won. How are you feeling now?
the Euros were having just a field day with that, like a field day. I mean, we did too, to be fair. Like, we had fun with nihilistic Scotty. What's the point of all this? That was clearly, like, his faith and his family are what he did keep talking about, the darkest or the deepest desires of his heart. I wanted some Euro. It's like, whoa, what are the deepest desires of that heart, Scott? They're his faith in his family, and that's what fulfills him. And that's like, more important than winning. But the winning does bring some great satisfaction, reward, and the pursuit of it does bring fulfillment for him. But he threw in the what's the point, and I'm not here to inspire the next generation, and like that became those were inarticulate. So go ahead. What's the next headline we got?
Well, I guess this one. This is one that needs to be called out.
What?
Was Thursday just a practice round, and is the actual playoff for the Open Championship happening on Monday on YouTube? Because Bryson was the 54-hole winner from Friday through Sunday. He tied with Windy.
They set a record, right? A low 54-hole mark. I mean, it prompts questions about the golf course. I think there was some statistical support for it approximating more of a PGA Tour event than your typical Open Championship, and I think a lot of that was just they didn't get the weather. They did not get the weather. It did get a little firm on Sunday, starting to be more. It wasn't ever soft, to be clear, but there was a little bit more rollout. Felt like on Sunday. You just didn't get you didn't get the weather, and that's
I
what
think
we're
that's
at.
what we
Still gotta
saw.
hit the
I mean,
shots.
I'm old enough to remember Birkdale when Brendan Grace or Brandon.
Brandon,
God,
yeah,
got the Brendan Gibbs.
that's a bad one to have.
When Brandon Grace, I get so anxious about anybody with either name about calling them the wrong name.
And you work with me for 8 years? And
Well, I know what your name is.
Oh,
you know?
Okay. Oh.
Whenever I meet a Brendan or a Brandon, I'm sure I'm not alone in this. It is
Sure.
just like for the next however long I'm with them, I'm doing mental gymnastics in my head as to what. Brandon Grace, the 62. I mean, remember the discourse around Birkdale?
Yeah.
On that was a Saturday, right?
Why do we have discourse about the Open and scores? This isn't
well,
US
you
Open.
know what?
Why is there
People
discourse?
need stuff to yell about. Just like we had to pick at Scotty's Open record, and you're trying to kill our fun by saying we can't hit the siren anymore. And there's people want to have discourse. They want to bully. I think there is like an element of something I find fascinating in other sports. Like, Peach, get in here. I want to fact check this.
Oh boy.
Am I I'm not incorrect in saying like baseball analytics has gotten to the point where everybody has these big analytics teams and they're actually going back to more eye test stuff. Less analytical stuff, because if everybody's looking at doing the same analytics stuff, then everybody is coming to the same conclusions, and then everybody would be trying to draft the same players, and everybody would try and do everything the exact same way.
Yes, I would agree with that. I think obviously some teams are way better at the same analytical game. You have the Dodgers and Rays are, a cut above everybody else generally. But yeah, everybody's looking for the same, especially with pitching. It's kind of jump the shark, and you're looking at the same pitch shapes and types that you're trying to acquire for every player.
And the same thing's going on in basketball too. Like, there's like obviously a lot of investment and different teams have different investment in analytics, but it's like, okay, we're looking at analytics and there's some principles and everything. Like, I think like what happens with online discourse is we use strokes gained, which like I think like one of the things about golf is like the analytics are still fairly rudimentary.
Can I back
And-
your point up there real quick?
Yeah,
The Thunder is like you got to shoot threes to win. The Thunder just won the NBA title
with
by
mid-range.
like shooting terrible. Like they were terrible from three for much of the like their last two series, and they won because of kind of eye test defenders, like eye test like athletes. We're gonna get 10 of these guys. Like, of course, there was some data to back up that defensive but they won because of defense. Go ahead.
So like I think like what happens is people get these like and they just use the data as gospel, but they're so in the weeds of the data that they don't actually watch the golf shots.
Yes.
Like and like that's like the important thing is to watch the golf shots. And watch what's happening in the golf tournament. You know, like you could show me all the models that you want, but at a certain time, like especially with golf, it's such a mental sport. Like this golf tournament was so different than anything else because you have a guy way out in front. So you're going to look at like this huge data set when most of the top of the leaderboard is trying to like put their fucking foot like firmly on the gas and go as hard as they can. Probably are playing more aggressive than they would, and now we're going to aggregate the data down and be like, look at all these guys that shot these really low rounds on Sunday morning because it was dead calm, and we're going to besmirch a venue when the reality was like, you know, the best player in the world just like separated and lifted with ease because the golf course didn't stand in the way of the player getting up and out, right? Like there was defense, like you had to hit great shots.
Penalty.
There was a lot of variety in the shots you had to hit. And because of the variety, because of the level of shots that you had to hit on certain holes, this player just like blew everybody out of the water.
I think another good point, kind of to that same vein on using the context, and this gets bogged down with the Wikipedia squares. Like I saw somebody tweet about Ludwig already today. Like Ludwig came in 7th at the Masters because he was trying to win on the last 3 holes and fell apart. John Rahm came in 8th at the PGA because he was the only other guy who had a chance to win and fell apart at the end. Like that matters contextual. Like you need the context surrounding those finishes.
I saw someone criticizing Rory for like his approach on a hole versus
Rory
Scottie's.
was trying to
It's
win.
like the difference between Rory and Scottie was the first like 54 holes. It's not like that doesn't tell the story. Like there's the context around what Scottie was able to do on Sunday versus what Rory had to do is analysis is almost futile. It's pointless.
The other thing about golf is like it's very fickle, right? Like some weeks, like you perform drastically different than other weeks. Like I think that's like one of the big differences in the sport is, and I guess like I think pitching probably would be about. I think pitching and golf are probably the two most similar pursuits.
Yeah.
Because you
Solitary.
have the time, aspect of it. You have like the days where you just don't have it. Like you have these weeks where guys just bomb out and play bad. You have performances where like your sinker's not sinking, it's not moving. And it's like, oh, I like literally just cannot make a putt this week. And this is what happened. Right. And I think like that's these analytics, like just strictly looking at, I like am a huge believer in analytics. I've learned a ton from analytics in golf. But you still have to like come at it with the perception of watching golf also and watching what's happening. It's not a vacuum.
I do think a lot of people, hopefully a lot. I think statisticians or the data boys do watch a lot of golf though, and have gotten better and are by and large incredibly additive to what is this meme you're throwing up there?
I saw this again from Tom Fornelli. A second back-to-back days of Fornelli on the live show. But just the bell curve model of IQ betting on Scottie Scheffler, and then all the data boys going. You make your models, and then the enlightened path of just betting on Scottie Scheffler at the end of the day, watching the golf shots.
This started from like a Portrush chatter though. Like I it approximated more of a PGA Tour event than we're used to. Do we have any final course thoughts? We've talked about the course, I think, in depth for a month now leading up to it. For me, it was truly it's funny. We've been to 2 opens now, and both have been pretty sunny, super hot and almost windless. There was some wind at St. Andrews, and oh man, it was like the most beautiful canvas the last 2 days. I will remember being on those dunes and those hills and some of those views and the following Rory and all this stuff forever. But you almost wish it was less pretty and more penal, more gray and more blowing. But
do you think if it was windier, would Scottie have won by less or more?
I don't think it would have changed anything.
I think he might have won
Maybe
more.
You're playing into his strengths too. Again, strategy and execution. Right? I
know you had an interesting tweet about the golf course and the coverage.
Yeah.
And just the difference in camera angles that the world views.
I saw that. I did see that before we came on.
And I would agree. You just I just feel like some of the golf coverage issues with NBC is just they clearly do not care about the venue ever showcasing it in a grand way. Their camera decision. I saw this interview with Tommy Roy. He's talking about how the grandstand was blocking a view on Calamity of looking back to the town. And it's
they had a grandstand between 15 green and 16T, which was an odd choice in my opinion, but it was a great vantage point for those fans on both sides.
But I was thinking about maybe the best vantage point of Calamity would be looking from ground level and kind of cutting across the canyon at the drop, right? He's more concerned with the long view of the town. But the feature of the hole is showing off the chasm that you're playing over. And I think that's just that's somebody I don't think they do a good job of showcasing the challenges that what happens is that people watch this, and when you flatten everything, they just think it's a normal golf course. But when you get those lower shots that show, then it's wait, that's not at all like the golf course I play. That's what you need to create, is moments where you feel like that, where it's whoa, this golf course is crazy. But when you shoot everything from tower cams down, it flattens everything.
I surreptitiously took a picture on 16 on Saturday, and I am a bad photographer, but I don't claim to be any. But it was from the way forward tee, and Roy was on the edge of the front tee, looking for wind, and it was you have this human point of reference. Rory and Harry were there on the front tee, and then behind it is you can tell the entire drop off, right? And then the sea and the dune that shoots up, you have this human point of reference there, sticking out in this chasm. And it was it was a bad photo. I'm not saying I'm a good photographer, but it really just drew out how far you fall off. I thought Scottie was super cool hearing him talk about Calamity while we're on it. That is the most stunning, beautiful, natural asset of a par 3 that he's ever played, which was cool to hear him.
I mean, it's insane. Obvious. He almost buried that hole every day.
You had a good tweet about he separates on the hardest possible shots is where you lift.
He probably picked up. So he played the hole 3 under. The scoring average on the hole had to be 3.5-ish. 3.3. So he effectively picked up 5 strokes on the field.
Yeah.
He won by 4.
Yep.
And he picked up 5 on the entire field on that hole. That's the hardest. I was thinking about it, is I think that's probably one of the 10 hardest par 3s in pro golf. 5 hardest par 3s in pro golf. And it's just like perfect. It's a perfect hole for him because he's the best. But him, Rory, like you could put it. It's like him, Rory, but like I would say he's the best long iron player in the world.
No wind, you got to hit like a 5 iron.
Yeah.
Rory hit a 6 today. Some guys are hitting 4. Yeah, you got to hit it no matter what with no wind.
Yeah, the no wind. The no wind is a bummer. I mean, that's like. It's all these. We talk about this all the time, week in, week out. Though it's like wind, and wind is the ultimate factor in these guys having to hit shots.
First time I saw, I think Data Golf had that. First time ever there have been 2 sub-70 scoring averages in an Open Championship back to back. So we're under 70 scoring average 2 ways in a row. It's just
Nothing
speaking
needs
of
to
the
be
wind
addressed
issue.
with the ball, though, or the driver head.
No,
You got-
not the driver.
You got a guy that finished in the top 10 that aims for the toe.
All right. All right. I don't have much else on Portrush. It is one of the great natural, we talked about it. We don't need to, it's one of the greatest championship golf courses in the world. It should have an Open Championship, maybe US Open too. But no, an Open Championship with consistency and regularity going forward. Nothing about this week changed it. It only reinforced it or reaffirmed it.
We've got a ton of storylines to run through. But do you want to talk about Rory at all? Obviously, a big week with him playing in front of the Northern Irish crowd.
We can.
You talked a little bit about it yesterday, but
a lot bit.
Talked about it. Thoughts on the overarching week.
Leaving with something. This is the graphic says. McIlroy takes low Hollywood golfer at 153rd Open. So he beat McKibben. McKibben missed the cut. I don't think he made the cut, did he? Tom McKibben. So there, he's got that going for him.
He got another Wikipedia yellow, which we'll get to more of those in the later. I think he's one that you considered at one point maybe he could win this thing.
He was good, not great. B-ish to B+, maybe B+, be too kind.
We're going to do our grades on Wednesday on CBS.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I thought a good quote was, I've gotten everything I wanted out of this week apart from a claret jug. And that's because one person was better than the rest of us. He did get really emotional. Not really. He did. You could tell him he was starting to get emotional talking about this place. These people mean so much to me. For that to get reciprocated, just being grateful to play. Someone said, all he needed to do was give these people hope. I don't think he even needed to do that. He did give them hope. Like, I was witnessing it up close when Scottie was in the bunker at 8. And basically when Rory went birdie yesterday, the place was on fire. He was still not necessarily going to close to Scottie, but the place was on fire when he goes birdie. And that's all he cared about. But I don't think he even needed to give him hope. It was just, look, I talked about it for what felt like 30 minutes on Saturday. So go listen to that. But, the Saturday round, and then again today, he was the show. He was the first story, and it was unlike anything I've ever seen. And I think the broadcast and journalists on site tend to overhype the crowd and talk about it way too much. It's like one of my pet peeves of like the crowd carried him, or the crowd's going nuts. The crowd is behind this person very clearly. Like the crowd is usually just a crowd, and it's very similar. Like from most events, I promise you, Masters, sure, there's some roars, but like. So here I am falling like into the trap that I think is the pet peeve, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. And Tiger had giant crowds, but there wasn't that like connection in the way that these people feel to Rory. And I had an Irish person tell me today, like, he makes you feel like unprompted. We weren't even talking about him, but like he makes himself he manages to keep people invested still. Like, and I don't think that's by design. It's an interesting point. Like, we definitely heard a little bit of like scuttlebutt about Darren when we were here, and I think Shane started to wear thin on some people here from everything I gathered over the last week. Not exclusively, but some. And like, Rory's not like universally beloved, but he does manage to keep like these fans super invested in who he is, where he's going in the world, what he's doing. And I don't know that that's by design. I think it's, of course, there's some curated image stuff and brand protection stuff, and it might just be like who he is. And like Arnold Palmer might have had that, and others might have had that. But I thought that was an interesting, like unprompted quote that somebody Irish told me to like, it's amazing how he manages to keep people so invested in like him and his success and who he is. And this was basically a 1 week like party for that. And people were so universally behind like one person. It was amazing.
I mean, what you hit on about like who he is like, I think one of the things about what's interesting about Scottie and Rory, they're diametrically different people, right?
Yeah.
Like Scottie's talking about like, I'm not here to inspire the next generation, right? Earlier in the week. And that's taking a small snippet, but like he's doing it for himself, right? And like he compartmentalizes it, and like, and then Rory's on the opposite end of the spectrum. And, you know, I think that I don't think he'd play anywhere that would have that type of fanfare for Scottie, but it's not even fair to compare it though.
No, it's
America is such a big country, and then it's like these localities, and you know, it's just different, right?
Yeah,
it's such a unique circumstance, and it's really
the year
cool.
he wins the Slam, like that it happens here. The fact that it like didn't for 60 years, like it's just, it all came together.
I think I was like happy he was playing very late on Sunday, you know, given the fact the way that Scottie played, and, you know, Rory needed his A+ game. You know, this is the thing that you want. And I think like what you could be on the wish list for things you want next year. Could we get a major where Scottie and Rory are both at A+ game and duke it out?
Yeah.
Because you'd be seeing different styles, different personalities, and like two players that when they're humming are extraordinarily difficult to beat.
The last thing, I did a lot of specifics on Saturday. I think Joseph and I are going to write a little bit more because, like, you know, we talked for 50 minutes on Scottie. Like, of course, he's the takeaway, but like this major will, like every other major, won't approximate this one because of one person. And it was Rory being at home. So we'll talk more about those sights and sounds. One of the last ones on 17, he hit it in the bunker left, and like he blasts out and putts. And he has to wait for Harry to rake it, right? And so Harry's raking it like for a good amount of time because he had to get up to the green. And Rory just stood there on the front of 17 green. And maybe this is custom. Maybe he wouldn't walk ahead, but I watched him. It was like almost a painfully long amount of time he waited for Harry. Like he started fiddling with all his clubs in the top of his bag, stood it up. He's just standing in the front of the green. We were like, Scottie is, you know, you could drive that green, right? Technically, I think he did.
He was trying to ice Scottie.
Houghton hit it in the bunker, but I think it was very clearly deliberate, like because you know Harry is also from Northern Ireland and like wanted to do the walk with him. He didn't go up to the tee, wanted to walk through the tunnel of people with Harry. This is me projecting, but it was a long amount of time he waited for him to rake the bunker. And so it was sort of like emblematic of him like wanting to make this like a whole Northern Ireland party or an Ireland party. It's like, Harry, you're part of this too. We're all part of this. Let's go do it. And it was interesting to watch him make that what felt to me like a very deliberate choice to wait for Harry. We'll have plenty more on Rory. What else do we got?
Let's go to the Low Englishman, the winner. This was a hotly contested battle. Harris English wins the Low Englishman with a runner-up finish.
He was awesome. He's solo second, right? I think he finished solo second on the Ryder Cup team. I know not every round has to be viewed through the lens of what does it mean for the Ryder Cup, but the money you get for a major championship high finish is significant. I think he's probably on the Ryder Cup team. Good for him. I'm a big Harry English fan. Did it without his caddy. I wouldn't call him like
an advantage. That was catnip call of the week. Catnip this week.
It was. I wouldn't say he's an aura farmer or anything like that. He might be pretty deadpan, but I love Harry English. I'm super pumped for him. He was great to talk to after I sat in with him.
You know, second runner-up finish in a major this year. Didn't feel like it at the PGA.
Sure.
Win some trivia with that. Yeah,
that was John Rahm like trying to, hit a grand slam on every pitch. And yeah, he took some lumps. Yeah.
You just think about the year, win at Torrey and two second place finishes in majors. And now he's the highest ranked in OWGR he's ever been, 8th. All right, ready for the next one?
What else we got?
How Tong. We got to talk about How Tong. How chummy was he with Scottie? God, they were like buddy.
It did seem like they were yapping at each other all day. How Tong might just be a great personality.
Seems like
it's even Scottie out of his shell. He had a funny press. He's like, Scottie says he's going to practice with me, do a practice round with me next time I'm over on tour. I bet when I text him, he's going to be like, How Tong who? and he won't remember me. But yeah, I you know what? We may never see How Tong Lee at a major championship final group again. I don't know.
His story's amazing though, with like completely just quitting the game for a couple months because he got the swing hips.
I think they actively don't want you playing golf in China. Like if you're a swimmer, they'll be working you in the pool at like age 3. He's like found it. He's horrible around the greens, but yeah, good for How Tong Lee. Final group of a major. Georgia on his mind. He qualifies for the Masters. All right. Well, there you go.
Well, you'll see. You may never see How Tong Lee again. Well,
in the final group,
we'll see him. We'll see him at the Masters, and we'll see him at next year's Open.
There we go. Good for How Tong Lee.
Let's go to Windy.
Partially absolved is the headline. Kisner thinks Oakmont incident isn't all on Clark. Well,
Peach, get in here. You made this one.
I did. I think
someone else break the lockers.
Kevin Kisner thinks it's the USGA's fault that this is a public spectacle and that the picture got to Mr. TC and got put on the internet. It's all on the USGA, not on Wyndham.
Wait,
this was not on the USGA. I got texted about the locker gate.
You got it.
That's what Kisner said.
I got texted about the locker gate clearly from somebody who got texted by a member.
Don't tell Kevin Kisner that.
Wait, Kisner
said this on the broadcast.
Is blaming the USGA?
Yes.
They're the rights holder for the. I mean, maybe not for long. Let's be clear. They're in negotiation. It's blaming the USGA for the player going ham.
The locker room is this sacred place. Nobody's supposed to know what's going on in there. Blaming the USGA.
True. That is not true.
Well,
the journalists should be allowed in the locker room. Many of them are. It's not.
I'm relaying what was said on the broadcast on national television.
These golfers, no, just don't bust a locker up. It's nobody else's fault. It's not sacred place, sacred ground.
Did you see he talked about it in his post round?
I saw all the questions were about that. He said he wished it hadn't gotten out or something.
Yeah.
Of course. You know who I bet wishes. You know who I bet wishes something didn't get out? The guy that got caught on camera at the Coldplay concert. I bet that guy wishes it didn't get out either, but it did.
There's right and wrong. The fact that it got out is immaterial to the fact that you busted up a locker or not.
Oh, don't tell Kiss.
Sacred. Yeah, all right. The USGA. I'm sure they love that from NBC. Okay.
We're going to go here. I think this is actually
Goated.
A legitimate
Is
question.
Ted Scott the caddy goat with 6 major wins? Okay. You love talking caddies, Andy.
I love talking. Everybody knows, listen to this pod, love talking caddies because we know that they hit the shots. But legitimately, I think that there needs to be some discourse, some Ted Scott discourse. He's won multiple majors
a bunch here
with multiple players. I don't know if there's anybody that's ever done that.
I don't know if he's he's the kind of guy I'd have a beer with at the pub, but he seems incredible at what he does. This is what I'm saying about the chaplain. Basically, has held. It's the only thing between Scottie basically winning the season slam last year. He changed Scottie. Look, what weight do we want to assign Scottie's ascendance? It's probably a lot to do with Scottie. It's a lot to do with his play. Ted Scott certainly played a part in it, though, when he came on the bag. Whether it's strategy, whether it's mental patience, guidance, calm. I've witnessed it up close at the Players. I'll never forget what it felt like. He was completely steering like this speedboat, and this like that Scottie is this incredible toy. Felt like Scottie was kind of steering, or Ted was kind of steering it at that time. But yeah, maybe the greatest caddy of all time. That seems like a crazy practice to debate who's best.
It's just, something. I think like the other thing is like you think about Scottie and I think he was like a pretty well known, and he still runs hot, right? But he ran hot.
Yeah.
And I think like some of the calming aspect of that is Ted Scott. He talked a little bit about it in one of his interviews about how prepared he is, and I think like me and you both grew up caddying.
Yeah.
People ask you questions all the time, and a lot of times you don't know the answer, but you just go along with it.
Just over there. Yeah.
And I don't think that's untrue of pro caddies on the PGA Tour. I mean, we saw it with Pot Eater's caddy not knowing the numbers on to cover a bunker, in a playoff, like fumbling around, to win the first PGA Tour title. But like he said, like Ted, like I know he's putting in as much, if not more, work than me to be ready, right?
Yeah,
so something a little bit more serious. We'll get back to some of the more inane ones here. We'll go with we'll do this one for Wikipedia. Plenty of goal squares to go around following Sunday. Here are some of our just never thought that they would win the tournament.
Never.
But they're picking up some lofty Wikipedia status. Those yellow boxes. Xander,
go ahead.
Xander, nice for him to just be like around.
He was fine. I have no like if a guy's won 2 majors, like a gold Wikipedia square is still a gold. It's fine. It's okay.
Russ Henley,
sure.
2 top 10s this year in majors. Corey Connors, maybe.
All right. Yeah. So when they say the weekend approximated a PGA Tour venue skill set, like this is where we're seeing some guys who maybe don't have the metal to win a major, but have the metal to gold star or gold square, not gold star, gold square, a Wikipedia.
And the last one, Bryson, who just went ham. We'll get to the next one.
Credit to Bryson for
the sponsor showcase. Strong Sunday from Ricky Fowler secures plenty of 2026 sponsor exemptions.
God. Ricky might be the nicest guy ever. I watched him like sign and deal with photos for like, I went into the media center and came out. I'm not even talking about fans. I'm talking about like walking scorers and little like, the errand boys who are in between the ropes and all this stuff. And he was just doing stuff for like 15 minutes with all these people when you just want to get the hell out of town. But yeah, he played well on the weekend.
You know what the motto is? Nice guys.
Sponsors exemption.
Nice guys finish first in sponsors exemptions.
Well, maybe that's how it should be. Maybe that's how it should work out. All right, what's next?
UK Big Dumper. Got her up goes first, third, in length stretch of season.
This is I mean, he was incredible. He made $2.7 million in 2 weeks. He's now apparently on the Ryder Cup team by everybody's, argument. Wildly impressive. It was funny. They were like, he and Harris English were doing press conferences at the same time. The mixed zone, they have like 3 spots. And it was just mutual admiration society. They like, maybe those guys are both headed to the Ryder Cup together. It feels like sort of prisoner of the moment as they both win, play well. But UK Big Dumper. He's a thick boy that got her up. He's built like a brick shit house. Yeah.
I mean, I think that team needs some guys that have a little pop in the bat. If I was going to say there's one weakness on that team, they don't have a lot of pop.
They need a power hitter in the middle of the lineup. They just don't have it. They don't have it at that page.
They need the Big Dumper.
No grand like conclusions. He's just wildly impressive. Can play a different style of golf when maybe you didn't think a young American would be able to do that. So
I think the thing with him is like, so we saw like Scotty's the perfect example. it took him some time to go.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen right away. Got her up, got it through the Corn Ferry Tour. Scottie gets up through the Corn Ferry Tour. Obviously, he's like the best player on the Corn Ferry Tour. Doesn't win for 70 starts. Like sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to get some giddy up.
Because I was talking to him, he goes, I knew I was playing well coming into these 2 weeks, but I didn't know I was playing that well. It's like kind of funny. Youthful naivete. Yeah. Maybe he's on the come. He's enchanting as a Ryder Cup pick right now. And I realize we're doing this so soon after he just ripped off 2 great weeks, but I think we want him. We need him there. Jersey zone.
Does PJ have any comment? We got somebody in the comments saying got her up greater than Cam Young. Is this who we wanted Cam Young to be?
I mean, yeah, it kind of is who we wanted Cam Young to be, at least for the last 2 weeks. I would take Goddard up over Cam Young right this second. I would.
Oh God.
I would.
What about over Cam Davis? Is he a better Nike athlete than Cam Davis?
Yes, because he's.
I mean,
yes. What are we doing? Yes.
To be fair, Cam Young's done a lot more in golf than Goddard has,
yes.
but just win. He doesn't have the win.
No, but I meant for the Ryder Cup. I would take Goddard up
the
over
U.S.
Cam
Open was trying to tell me that Cam Young wasn't worthy of a Nike sponsorship.
That's not what I said. I just said it makes me laugh.
Cam Davis?
Cam Davis.
Okay.
Cam Davis.
All right. Well, I mean, you're holding Nike in too high regard.
Yes, that's what I think too.
All right.
I was shocked.
Get out of here with that.
The miracle of Portrush, Matt Jordan defeats par with a Sunday 70. He finishes 1 under on the week. Sadly,
incredible.
Not exempted to next year.
Oh, that's too bad. But still, a valiant effort. It's a nice little 70 coming in the house. Maybe that was when the wind stopped and became more of a PGA Tour event.
That's honestly
maybe we strike this from the record. We strike this from the record. The model still is the model. And we don't,
honestly is like what happened. It was literally like the weather stopped and he just fell apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Brought all the others. The Windy into it. Wyndham Clark. Okay. What other headlines?
Landfall. Weather advisory rings true. Sunday storm. We've seen Westy Island's cursed with Sunday storms. Sunday storm takes out our beautiful boy.
What'd he shoot? I gotta say, Westy wasn't on my radar.
2 over.
Okay.
On the day. Last I had checked.
It was good to have Westy back in our lives, doing interviews, not tweeting angrily at people, harassing people or getting harassed online, vice versa. He seemed happy talking about Birkdale. He was just doing all the TV interviews again. It was good. Good to have Westy back in our lives.
Westy took a run at Mackenzie and Ebert.
He did.
Loved that. This is the
about what 7 and 8
famed architecture duo that is runner rampant, runner rampant and through the RNA circuit of golf courses.
Yeah.
He said, sorry, I was pulling this up. I can't do 2 things at once.
Yeah, nobody can.
So question, in terms of next year, would you have any particular memories of Birkdale or how would you rate it? Here's Westwood. I love Birkdale. It's one of my favorite golf courses. I played it about a month and a half ago and they've made some changes. And I don't want to judge it too early, but I did think they'd improved it. Follow-up question, quite different. It's different, yeah. The changes they've made will take some betting in.
What an English term, betting in? What does that mean? All right, so we're going to be talking about Birkdale already.
I just want to reiterate.
There we go. All right.
I want to just point out something real quick. The Mackenzie and Ebert, important note. I want to be clear here because I don't want to get an email about this. Tom Mackenzie is doing the work at Birkdale, not Martin Ebert.
Okay.
Martin Ebert redid Portrush, the 7th hole. I think that they might be on their 3rd green iteration.
I think that's right.
They've had to re-renovate the green 3 times. So Imagine that, kind of like renovating the kitchen, and then just continuing to hire the same person to re-renovate it. The golf hole at Liverpool, Little Eye, or Wee Eye, as we called it, that was being skipped by members.
Routing, yes.
They had a disastrous routing in a hole that members just skipped and walked to the 18th tee instead of playing it. And it is reportedly probably going to be redone. So this is just the and now we get our first word out of Brookdale that
needs some betting in.
That the work has not made the golf course better.
Different's okay, maybe. Once it's bet in. Who knows?
It's got a bet in.
So that was a long Westy digression. But I
haven't seen it. Don't want to get an email, but might get an email.
Okay. All right. Love it. What other we got? What else? What other storylines we got to jump to? Or you have any Westy rap, Bo? He just took it on the chin a little bit this weekend, but he's older now at this point. Good to have him back in our lives.
This is a guy that we needed the score to be around like 7 or 8 to have a shot.
Okay.
Westy can't win a shootout anymore. Like, if you're looking for a guy that's going to go make a bunch of birdies without missing any short putts, I did see heading into Sunday, he led the field in approaches inside of 10 feet. Nobody had hit more shots inside of 10 feet than Westy.
Well, he's got
all-time iron player.
Yep.
That's the other, one other point about Scottie. Supreme iron play ages like fine wine.
That's true. And it doesn't tend tends not to leave you, right? I mean, putting can leave you. The driver can get wild. And it does tend to age quite nicely, as you just alluded. What's our next storyline? What else we got going on? You guys have been cooking here.
Let's go here. It happened again. Phil Stenson best Phil in their own shootout. It didn't get as much pub. Stenson took him down by 2 shots.
What an eclectic sort of weekend. Like, we're talking about Wyndham Clark and Tong Lee and Westy and Stenson and Phil. It's just an eclectic mix getting through. And that's, what we love about the Open, right? We do the guile. Who's got the guile in the metal. And it's a mix of current speed and guile and metal. And so we had a weird sort of makeup for the weekend. So, but Phil and Stenson in the mix. Haven't seen them in a while.
Overcoming adversity. Jacob Skov Olsen learns from his dad, avoids the post-cut deflator Thursday lead. So you have post-cut DFL.
DFL, yeah. Where did he end up?
He was 2 back of DFL.
Okay. Well, that's good. Good for him.
Perfect game. Sepp Straka.
Oh, I had this in my notes.
Makes 18 pars on Sunday. Masterful 71. All
this
pars.
Is the most impressive thing. Scotty be damned. Most impressive accomplishment of the weekend. 18 in a row. That's Faldo territory. The tank. That's a clean tank. Clean card, clean tank. Perfect game. Love that.
We'll go with this one. Reconsidering. Scotty is making many wonder what the point of golf is anymore.
God, I see JT at the top there. I was kind of interested to see what he said after his round. Anything in there? The first 6 questions he took were about Grayson, his clothes. 6 questions. Guy just finished a major. This is where we're at with Justin Thomas. He's getting 6. I don't know who was in there. Maybe one of the fashion journal. How about Grayson is? How do you make your picks? How do you pick what you want? Your scripts? Is it comfortable? I don't know. Just a mix of bullshit about his clothes. And he just finished a major. I don't know. So,
you know who's down in the bottom right corner? Do you see who's down there?
I want to talk to Samson.
PJ got me one more in there.
I like it. So what is this? All right, go ahead. Jordan rules. Spieth over Smith. Battle for low Jordan.
And Matthew
And
Jordan.
Matthew Jordan. Yeah. Not a terrible. You know what? Spieth does well at the Open. He makes every cut. I wouldn't say, he's contended on multiple occasions. Feels like something, maybe more than the Masters at this point, where he can continue to be most relevant. Okay. What else?
We got the Couch Boys. So they'll be these three will be watching the Ryder Cup from their couch. Koepka, Garcia, and Patrick Reed.
Playoff P. Couch boy Brian will now be Couch Boy P. You have to be an original listener going back to September of 2018 to get Couch Guy Brian reference.
It's good with P. Reed too.
I saw Sergio on his way to the range after he lost today. Snapped his driver on the second hole. He was going to the range after the round. Got to get ready for JCB. Maybe he's locked in for the London event. Go ahead.
And then we got one last one.
Under pressure.
Keegan, under pressure. 8 Americans finished in the top 10 in this PGA Tour event, right?
I mean, it was dominant. It's
because it was a PGA Tour event,
just
right?
about their best. Well, I think the same thing happened last year, though, too, and that was much more volatile. I did see, as I was walking out on 18, a man in cargo shorts chanting USA, USA. He looked like he was from PJ's neck of the woods. He's in cargo shorts chanting USA. We're number one. We're number one. You don't want us in the Ryder Cup. Come on over. It'll be a great host. Just totally obnoxious. And like all these kind of befuddled and bemused Northern Irish people staring at this lunatic in cargo shorts yelling USA, we're number one. Like bad look.
About right.
Bad scene.
Sounds about right.
But yeah, I feel like there's some clarity with the Ryder Cup. Actually, maybe not.
I don't think there's
Can't lay Morikawa. You've got Goddard up in English joining the fight. It's just, it's going to be interesting. I don't know that we need to talk about it tonight, but he wrote messages for everybody and put them in their locker per Thick Boy.
Apparently, it was a little note written on a picture of Justin Leonard from Brookline. And Keegan has since confirmed that although Bryson is going to fall out of the top 6, he is on the team. So
who got a note? I mean, who got a letter in their locker? Did you have to be top 6?
Bryson said all of the potential guys. So
that's an ambiguous cutoff. But okay, all right. What else do we have?
I think
Any other
that was
it.
We killed it. Okay, I love it. I love it. Any other stories? We hit Rory, Scottie, the course. Should we do our little game, PJ?
You want to?
Yeah,
I think we should.
do it.
All right.
This is in, out, and alternate, but my little version of in, out, alternate for Andy. So Joseph and I have been on the grounds this week, and they have these banners. And Shackelford, we were all having a good laugh with this. The Open does branding pretty well, but they've gone a little over the top with their Forged by Nature and all this stuff. They're on all of these grandstands. So that you hit with like 4 or 5 walking in. So now you're going to have to guess real or fake.
These are while you walk in.
I mean, one's on the 18th, one's on the banner as you go through the gate. One's on the first tee. Real or fake? Let's rip through this. I mean, it was... The first one is riding the winds.
This is real.
To immortality.
Real.
Riding the winds to immortality. Was this up there?
Real? 100% real, but Scottie wouldn't say that he's riding the winds to immortality.
This one is indeed fake.
God.
I think that was the best one I came up with. I cooked on that one. What else we got next, PJ? Forged by Nature, won by champions.
This has to be real.
This is real. Everybody, they're imposing.
Forged by Nature is. I feel like that's the one everybody knows.
They're ramming that down our throats. Yeah. Yes, but still stupid. In this land of giants, a champion will triumph. So the Giants Causeway, all that.
This is interesting. I'm gonna say fake.
Real. This is real. This was the biggest one as you walk into like the first tee.
It's such a long
So bad.
catchphrase.
Yes.
Oh,
it's so
all of
bad.
them have two clauses. They're
I
all
have
always have a
pictures.
comma.
I
The
have
pictures are in
pictures.
here.
I have
Pictures are in
pictures.
here.
Okay. All right. Shitty pictures, but pictures nonetheless. Okay.
You took they let you take pictures of that?
No, I mean, I don't know if they let me. I did. On the links, connecting the past to the future.
This is fake. This is not
Good.
real.
That's fake. That's stupid. But they all are.
I
They
can
all are.
see it though.
Where the elements play, a story will be written.
Seems like something Don Rea would write.
We saw Don today in a bucket hat in red, white, and blue, like Air Force Ones. It looked like he was going to do a fit check. We were
Can I follow up
basically.
just a little bit?
We saw Don in a bucket hat.
What's my
Incredible.
personal opinion on it? There is no personal opinion. I'm the president of the PGA of America.
Where the
In my
elements play,
personal
a story will
opinion,
be written. So
this is
the elements didn't play, though, this week. There weren't really elements.
This is fake.
It's real and it's spectacular. That was on the banners walking in.
No,
All right.
no, this is not real.
The house that
Harry built.
the house that Harry built. That is fake. We had to throw one truly preposterous one in there. But they're all preposterous.
Could you
They're all
imagine if it was, though? Could you
The house
imagine if
that-
it was?
the house that Harry built? Okay. What else? Is that it? Do we have any other?
No, we got
Oh.
a couple more.
Every shot tells a story.
This is real.
That's real. I don't think that's true, but it's real. Every shot tells a story. The
This is-
Causeway of Champions.
This is real.
Fake. I'm telling you, you can't even tell. You can't tell how bad it was, like going out of my way to make something cheesy and gross and what was all over the banners. Anyways, an interesting development at the Open. Charging the course of history. All right, this
is fake.
This is its own category. This was this was branded. Their generator their generator sponsor had this like on their one, but all in the same font. All in the same font. On the
I
same
think that
setup.
counts. Then.
All right,
I mean,
branded.
there
There we go. Just to corroborate that these actually exist. Some
Here are the
crappy
pictures.
photos. Yes, a champion will triumph in the land of giants. Okay.
What do you guys suggest our slogan would be if we became a sponsor, like a generator sponsor?
That's a good one. I need time to think about it.
I mean, charged up for a generator. It's pretty good. You gotta,
Charging the course of history?
I mean, it fits in with the rest of them to the point where Andy couldn't tell.
That is true. That is true. Anything else we need to talk about on this wrap podcast? I mean, I think we're going to get in. So we're going to do some Ryder Cup chatter going forward. We're going to kind of grade the major season, do some awards. Nobody needs that as we wrap up an Open Championship. What would you grade?
We got Sod Farm next
What would
week.
you? Oh my God!
On
What
to
would
Sod
you-
Farm.
There was apparently
Chris Gotterup and Sam Burns leading the field. Way big favorites, those two, in case anybody was wondering where we're at.
There's apparently a charter jet that people are fired up to get the sod farm going on.
Tonight?
Yeah, I think so. Big week for aura farming. Dick Teeter. It's just a great week over here. Thank you guys for your continued support. Do we have anything else? Andy, you good?
I'm good.
We hit all our high marks here.
This is like almost a all-time non year in review.
I guess Teeter's at Port
non-flashback.
Stewart. Teeter's at Port Stewart tonight. Just running the
Are
drill.
you guys gonna
running
go
the
meet
team
up with him?
competition.
When's
No.
Teeter coming on the pod?
We're working on it. We are working on that. All right. I think that does it. We will talk to you guys on, I don't know when. Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. We're going to figure it out. We got to get the TPC sod farm. We're on to Minnesota. Thank you guys for your support all major season. These live shows have been a different deal for us, but we've enjoyed them. Thanks to Mercedes-Benz for their support of our work all week. We will be back and talk to you guys on Wednesday.